Majesty the Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam consents to visit the Singapore Airshow 2012. His Majesty consents to hold meetings with the President of the Republic of Singapore and the former Prime Minister of the Republic of Singapore. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A very good evening and welcome to News at 10. I'm Dianku Susilawati, Pengiran Haji Sabri.
And I'm Hajah Kartini Dewi Abdullah.
His Majesty Paduka Seri Baginda Sultan Yang di-Pertuan of Negara Brunei Darussalam has consented to have a meeting with the President of the Republic of Singapore, His Excellency Dr. Tony Tan Keng Yam, and the former Prime Minister of Singapore, His Excellency Lee Kuan Yew. The meeting was held at Istana Presiden, Singapore this afternoon. His Majesty is in the Republic to attend the Singapore Airshow 2012. The airshow was held at the Changi Exhibition Centre. On arrival at the centre, His Majesty was greeted by the Minister for Defence of the Republic of Singapore, His Excellency Dr. Ng Eng Hen, the Chief of Defence Force of the Republic of Singapore Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Neo Kian Hong. His Majesty then consented to tour the exhibition booths of the Singapore Technologies Engineering Limited and the Boeing Company. The exhibition, which has been held since the 14th of this month, has attracted thousands of visitors to watch the latest aircraft and vehicles equipped with the most up-to-date facilities. These range from the commercial aircraft to fighter jets and combat aircrafts, apart from various military vehicles of high technology.
You won't know.
His Majesty also consented to take a closer look at the display of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner as well as the 21st century passenger planes. These are the type of aircraft of low fuel efficiency for long and short distance flight but with a large and comfortable seating capacity. His Majesty also consented to take a closer look at the display of the Boeing 787 as well as the jet fighters and helicopters display from the Republic of Singapore Air Force.
I'm going to show you first is a cruise bright scene.
Flying on the airplane for 13 hours, I put a sleeping bag here, relax and enjoy it. It's nice to have.
Present to accompany His Majesty at the Singapore Airshow 2012 were the Second Minister of Finance at the Prime Minister's Office, Yang Berhormat P.N. Orang Kaya Laila Setia, Datuk Seri Setia Awang Haji Abdul Rahman bin Haji Ibrahim, the Second Minister of Foreign Minister and Trade, Yang Berhormat P.N. Orang Kaya Pekerma Dewa, Datuk Seri Setia Lim Jok Seng, the Command of the Royal Brunei Armed Forces, Major General Datuk Paduka Seri Haji Aminuddin Ehsan bin P.N. Orang Kaya Saiful Muluk, Datuk Seri Paduka Haji Abidin, and other senior officials.
Ladies and gentlemen.
His Majesty then consented to attend a luncheon hosted by the Singapore Minister for Defence, His Excellency Dr. Ng Eng Hen, at the ST Engineering Suite Changi Exhibition Centre. During the luncheon, His Majesty witnessed aerial display provided by some of the participating countries in the Singapore Airshow 2012. This airshow has attracted a large participation, especially among aircraft manufacturing companies around the world.
He also assures us that most of those flights don't stop with these maneuvers. Notice flying the Rebel 300, which has the highest power to wind ratio of any aircraft in Australia. And you'll see this in great evidence as Tony takes his Rebel 300 Christmas Spectacular.
In the afternoon, His Majesty the Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam consented to meet the President of the Republic of Singapore, His Excellency Dr. Tony Tan Kem Yang. The meeting took place at the Istana President. During the meeting, the two leaders, among others, exchanged views on matters related to bilateral relations, as well as regional and international matters of mutual interest. Also in attendance were the Second Minister of Finance at the Prime Minister's Office, Yang Berhormat P.N. Orang Kaya Laila Setia, Datuk Seri Setia Awang Haji Abdul Rahman bin Haji Ibrahim, the Second Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Yang Berhormat P.N. Orang Kaya Pekerma Dewa, Datuk Seri Setia Lim Jok Seng, and other senior government officials. The meeting with the President of the Republic of Singapore was later followed with a four-eye meeting between His Majesty, the Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam, and the former Prime Minister of the Republic of Singapore, His Excellency Lee Kuan Yew. The meeting was also held at the Istana. The renovation and modernization of the Brunei International Airport Terminal is aimed at improving the existing environment and appearance, enhancing passengers and public convenience.
Details coming up shortly, but first this excerpt of His Majesty's Sita. Maulidur Rasul celebration continues in the country in further glorifying the birthday of Prophet Muhammad SAW and instilling loyalty towards the Prophet as a perfect role model of a true Muslim. Apart from developing good and strong relations, such a function is hoped to instill religious responsibility. The Ministry of Health and the departments under it have held such a celebration at the Raja Isteri Pangeran Anak Saleha Hospital. Among those present at the function was the Minister of Health Yang Berhormat Penurangkaya Johan Pahlawan, Datuk Seri Setia Awang Haji Adenan. The function was highlighted with the final of a Dikir Sharafil Anam team competition among Dikir teams of the departments under the Ministry of Health. The aim was to select Dikir team representatives for the national level competition. Similarly, the Prime Minister's office held the Maulidur Rasul celebration at the Civil Service Institute in Rimba Gadong. The director of the institute, Sharifah Fatmah binti Sheikh Haji Ahmad, in her speech said the civil service staff need to develop a sense of realization in themselves and in their respective organizations in carrying out their duties and responsibilities for the prosperity of the nation. Present was the Deputy Minister at the Prime Minister's office, Datuk Paduka Awang Haji Abdul Wahab bin Junaid. Meanwhile, a Maulid celebration organized by the Language and Literature Bureau in the Tutong district carried the theme, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as the catalyst of the reading culture empowerment. Present at the function was the head of the Language and Literature Bureau's library, Haji Sahari bin Haji Nasar. A talk focused on knowledge and its blessings, whereby Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam received knowledge through Al-Quran to guide the global community. The renovation and modernization project of the Brunei International Airport terminal structure will be implemented soon. The Minister of Communications made a working visit to have a closer look at the situation of the airport terminal and other affected areas. During the visit, Yang Berhormat Penurangkaya Hamzah Pahlawan Datuk Seri Setia Awang Haji Abdullah heard a briefing by the consultants on preparations for the upcoming works. Also present was the Deputy Minister at the Prime Minister's office, Datuk Paduka Haji Ali, who is also Chairman of the Brunei Economic Development Board, BEDB. The concept design of the project aimed at improving the existing environment and appearance, enhancing passengers and public convenience, as well as the installation of a much improved security system. In ensuring the smooth running of the airport's operation during the construction period, the Brunei Economic Development Board and the Civil Aviation Department will introduce several rules. The construction works are expected to be completed approximately in 36 months.
The Kampong Batong New Mosque building, when ready, can accommodate about 800 congregants. Construction of the new mosque that is expected to be completed in September this year cost more than $2 million. This morning, the foundation laying ceremony was led by the Minister of Religious Affairs, Yang Berhormat Pangeran Datuk Seri Setia Dr. Haji Muhammad. Also taking part in the ceremony were the Deputy Minister of Religious Affairs, Pangeran Datuk Paduka Haji Bahrom, as well as the Penghulu Mukim and Ketuas of Kampungs in Mukim Pengkalan Batu. This new mosque is built on a 2.32-hectare site. The facilities provided include the main prayer halls for men and women, a meeting room, lecture room, a library, and IT, as well as a section for funeral rites management. Flying the national flag on every National Day celebration is not only to decorate or brighten up the celebration's atmosphere, but is also to assess the people's spirit of patriotism, nationalism and love for the nation and race. Such a practice is also to uphold the sovereignty and survival of the race and nation. The Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports made a reminder in an interview with RTB during the ceremony to launch the distribution of miniature flags for vehicles in conjunction with the 28th National Day celebration.
Dan mereka perlu menyadari bahawa ketidakpenyertaan rakyat dan penduduk pada mengibarkan bendera kebangsaan negara Brunei Darussalam sewaktu hari-hari kebangsaan.
Yang Berhormat pointed out that not participating in the raising of the Brunei Darussalam national flag on the National Day and other major national events could demonstrate a lack of weakness among the people in the country in the sense of solidarity, unity and love for the nation, monarch and race.
Perasaan perpaduan dan kesatuan serta kecintaan mereka kepada negara, raja dan bangsa.
A total of 250 miniature flags for vehicles were distributed and 1,500 more were distributed among residents in the Temburong district. Meanwhile, 25,000 miniature flags will also be distributed to the public throughout the country. 7,000 of such flags are for the Brunei Muara district, 4,000 for the Blight district and 2,500 for the Tutong district. About 50 vehicles were involved, comprising government official vehicles and those of the Four-Wheel Drive Association. They took part in a 5-kilometer procession around Bangar town to promote the flag flying launching ceremony.
Given Brunei Darussalam's small domestic market, it is important that the country's small and medium enterprises, SMEs, look beyond Brunei to seek expansion and growth opportunities. Therefore, for most companies, it is necessary to venture overseas in order to sustain their businesses in the long run. This was underscored by the Deputy Minister at the Prime Minister's Office, cum Chairman of the Brunei Economic Development Board, BEDB, Datuk Paduka Awang Haji Ali bin Haji Apong, in his opening speech during a signing ceremony between a local company and a multimedia services company based in Nigeria. At the event, Datuk Paduka Awang Haji Ali also stated that with their guidance to strengthen capability, capital and connectivity, the programs are structured to ensure that the SMEs are equipped with the right skills and tools before they even start thinking of overseas market expansion. Datuk Paduka Awang Haji Ali added that it is important that Brunei Darussalam's SMEs be trained to maintain good balance of innovation and financial discipline for them to remain competitive and productive. A good example would be the country's LEAP program, which stands for Local Enterprise Applications and Products, whereby the country funds companies to come up with innovative products, but at the same time instills in their mindset good financial discipline and ensure that funding received is used for its intended purpose.
In addition, the BEDB has also introduced our PLEB Plans scheme, which is the Promising Local Enterprise Development Scheme, with the primary objective of enabling our promising companies to expand overseas. This scheme will not only provide the financial capital, but more importantly, will have a team of experienced and qualified mentors to advise and guide our companies on how to think global.
Signing on behalf of Brunei Darussalam was the founder of the local company concerned, Dayang Haja Salma binti Haji Abdul Latif. Meanwhile, representing the company from Nigeria was its managing director, Dr. Musa Bawa Garba. The event marked the beginning of a new business relationship as part of Crescent's efforts to expand its business overseas and to partner with a company that believes in the importance of Islamic finance and appreciates that its implementation in Nigeria is a necessity for the country's economic progress and development. Last year, the Ministry of Industry and Primary Resources entrusted Syarikat Darussalam Holdings Sendirian Berhad to organize and promote Islamic tourism in the country. Today, the agency stepped forward by opening its branch in the Blight district. The new Darussalam Holdings office was officiated by the Deputy Minister of Education, Datuk Sri Setia Haji Awang Yusof bin Haji Awang Ismail, who is also chairman of the Syarikat Darussalam Holdings Board of Directors. The Syarikat Darussalam Holdings is hoped to extend opportunity by opening its branches in the Tutong and Temburong districts in the future. The Deputy Minister of Education in his speech said a matter of most pride was when seeing the progress and capability of the Darussalam Holdings Sendirian Berhad, which is fully led by locals who can play vital roles as a government-owned company. This, he added, could be set as an example to other private companies without depending on foreign expertise in conducting the company's operation, particularly in the tourism industry.
Dan boleh dijadikan sebagai contoh kepada syarikat-syarikat swasta yang lain tanpa perlu bergantung kepada kepakaran orang luar dalam menjalankan operasi syarikat, khususnya dalam industri pelancongan.
Locating at Jalan Pandan Tujuh, the new office is designed to facilitate and make the management process faster for residents in the Blight district to deal business with the agency without having to travel to Bandar Seri Begawan.
Through the collaboration that has been established, Brunei Darussalam and Qatar are able to further enhance cooperation in various fields, especially in the field concerning youth and culture. In this regard, both countries can learn from each other, especially after Brunei and Qatar had recently signed a Memorandum of Understanding on cooperation in the field of culture. This matter was highlighted by the Deputy Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports, Datin Paduka Haja Adina binti Osman, during a courtesy call on the Minister of Culture, the Arts and Heritage of Qatar, the Honourable Dr. Hamad bin Abdul Aziz Al Kawari. The meeting took place at the Ministry of Culture, Arts and Heritage of Qatar. Datin Paduka Haja Adina attended the third ministerial meeting of non-airline nations on women's development held in Doha, Qatar. The two-day meeting ended last Tuesday. During the courtesy call, both Datin Paduka and the Honourable exchanged views on programs related to youth and culture of the two countries. Brunei Darussalam and Qatar also hope that the matters underlined in the Memorandum of Understanding on collaboration in the field of culture already signed between the two countries in Brunei Darussalam in January this year will continue to be implemented and enhanced. Among those present during the courtesy call were the Director of the Qatar Youth Centre, the Director of Youth Activities of Qatar and the Shadi Affairs of the Brunei Darussalam Embassy in Qatar.
React when someone changes lanes without warning, or when you're distracted, when you're falling asleep at the wheel. Do you know how you'll react? Lexus can now precisely test the most unpredictable variable in a car, the driver. When you pursue perfection, you don't just engineer the world's most advanced driving simulator. You engineer amazing.
Planning with you. Planning for you.
Mommy, what does saving for our rainy day mean, Mommy?
It means Mommy and Daddy don't have to worry about your future.
Oh, can I buy something for baby Adam?
Baiduri, a world of financial plans. Simply Baiduri.
You're still with us on News at 10. Underprivileged students in the country are not isolated, but are always given due attention by the government, non-government organizations and the general public. This afternoon, a ceremony was held to hand over contributions from the Brunei Darussalam, a graduates association, to secondary and primary school students from underprivileged families in the Temburong district. The contributions were presented by a member of the Legislative Council, Yang Berhormat Awang Haji Sulaiman bin Haji Ahad. 44 underprivileged students received the assistance. Also present was the acting Temburong District Officer, Awang Suhari Fatzali bin Haji Yusuf. Meanwhile, the President of the Brunei Darussalam Women Graduates Association, Pangeran Datin Paduka Haja Hairani, hoped that the contributions could help the students live a more comfortable life and overcome their economic problems in some ways.
With the establishment of the downstream oil and gas industry, 50,000 jobs will be created, and for this, science-based education will be highly in demand. The matter was underlined by the Permanent Secretary for Core Education at the Ministry of Education at the launching and certificate presentation ceremony of an inquiry-based science education workshop. Awang Haji Mahrub bin Haji Murni said science is one of the core subjects in the 21st century national education system. To date, school achievement in science is at the 20 to 25% level. According to Awang Haji Mahrub, teachers form the main artery in disseminating the inquiry method as an added value to the existing teaching techniques. Success, either at the department or school level, can be achieved with the sharing of roles and responsibilities between school leaders and teachers in implementing the technique. The workshop on Laman Alapat in French, meaning inquiry-based science education, aims to enhance teachers' knowledge and understanding the inquiry-based teaching approach. 52 science teachers from the second cohort received their certificates, and 50 science teachers received the trainer certificates. These instructors will train 700 science teachers using the inquiry approach in the teaching of science in class. The workshop was organized by the Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Human Resource Development Section, Department of Schools, the Curriculum Development Department, Department of Schools Inspectorate, and the Science, Technology and Environment Partnership STEP. Weekend initiative without plastic bags, which is being held on Saturdays and Sundays, has been extended to Fridays as from tomorrow. This is the result from various positive feedbacks that have been received from the public as consumers and business operators in the country. Such initiative began on March 26, 2011. The Friday's promotion event was held this morning. Present was the Permanent Secretary for Administration and Finance at the Ministry of Development, Awang Haji Muhammad Lutfi bin Abdullah. Since the initiative began in March last year, only 18 departmental stores and shopping centres have been taking part, but to date that has now increased to 44. The event coincided with the presentation of participation certificates to 44 managers. Meanwhile, in support of the initiative, a company has presented 10,000 reused bags. With the addition of Fridays, members of the public are hoped would be more sensitive and practice the habit of using reused bags when shopping.
University Brunei Darussalam's Open Day 2012 is aimed to give the public the opportunity to know more about UBD's offered programs. Officiating at the Open Day was UBD's Assistant Vice-Chancellor for Education, Associate Professor Dr. Azman bin Ahmad. Members of the public can have interaction with representatives of faculties, academics, study centre and schools under UBD. They can also gather information on various student-managed clubs to have a clearer picture on UBD's mission towards producing knowledgeable individuals through the cultivation of intellect, faith and culture in a conducive environment. The two-day Open Day starts from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. A meeting for the formation of the Executive Committee for His Majesty the Sultan Aning di Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam's 66th birthday celebration in the Brunei Muara district was held to discuss the format of performances and sideline events in conjunction with the upcoming celebration. Chairing the meeting was the Brunei Muara District Officer Awang Haji Jamain bin Mumin, who is Chairman of the Executive Committee for His Majesty's 66th birthday celebration in the Brunei Muara District. The meeting was specifically for the get-together ceremony with His Majesty and residents in the Brunei Muara District. The day's meeting took place at the Dewan Muhibah Brunei Muara District Office in Barakas.
Studies on adopted methodology in the publication of the Al-Marbawi Arab-Malay Dictionary, written by renowned scholar Allahyarham Sheikh Muhammad Idris, was among the working paper discussed on the second and final day of the Arabic Studies International Conference. The second UNISA conference acts as the best medium to discuss on the contribution of Islamic intellectuals who play leading roles in the spreading and disseminating of Arab studies in the local, regional and international levels. The studies identified a number of factors which caused a lack of usage of the dictionary among the students and academic graduates, especially in this country. Also discussed were efforts to introduce Islamic intellectuals, both who are well-known or otherwise, apart from discussing academically on topics and current issues related to Arab studies. It is hoped that the conference will place Arab language on the right footing and the country will gain recognition as an Islamic Sultanate nation. The three-week Semio Voctech training program on integrating ICT and new media in teaching and learning for the 21st century ended today. The program was attended by 23 instructors, teachers and lecturers from 10 Semio member countries, namely Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos People's Democratic Republic, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and Vietnam. The High Commissioner of Malaysia to Brunei Darussalam, His Excellency Dato' Abdullah Sani Omar, in his speech, said that the 21st century teachers must possess the skills and mindsets of the 21st century educators. His Excellency also presented certificates to the participants after closing the training program.
Various efforts are being carried out in aid of special people in the country. They are initiated or organized not only by government agencies, but by private organizations and individuals as well. In this regard, the Tourism Development Department of the Ministry of Industry and Primary Resources, in collaboration with a local recording company, as organizers hope that the Mahir Zain Live in Brunei show on the 3rd of March at Jerudong Park Amphitheatre could attract tourists, especially from neighboring Borneo states. The organizers hope that the public could benefit the teachings about life in Islam through these song performances.
Songs, it teaches us about meanings, life, Allah and everything. So I think it's a good choice for us to bring him in. And I think looking at it, he has a lot of fans in Brunei. And also maybe, as what Sheh said, Sabah, Sarawak, including Miri as well. They might be coming down because they cannot have this kind of country. I think it's very hard for them to do it there. So it's very good for tourism as well. And also for his songs.
Meanwhile, tickets for the show priced at $120, $90, $70 and $40 are available at several business premises in the capital and the Blight district. Some of the proceeds from the tickets and sponsorship will be donated to the Pusat Ehsan and Smarta Association. Also present were Yang Amat Mulia Pengiran Anak Muhammad Abdul Hafiz and the Director of Tourism, Sheikh Haji Jamaluddin.
I'd like to thank them for bringing this event to Brunei, because event is a very important part of tourism. It brings people from Sabah and Sarawak into our show.
The Community Development of Vision Program Workshop gives exposure to community leaders in the Tutong district to plan and generate community development at the kampung level. This was in line with the objective towards the nation's Vision 2035. The workshop ended with a presentation of certificates. Certificates were presented by the Acting Tutong District Officer, Haji Muhammad Sufyan bin Haji Bungsu. The workshop was organized for the first time by the Tutong District Office and attended by 26 participants comprising of Kampung Consultative Council members. Through such exposure, the participants can share experience and can identify the strength of the respective kampungs in elevating the kampung's community's capacity.
The Ministry of Health through the Department of Health Services will commence Sistem Perjanjian Bermasa at the Berakas A Health Centre for all basic healthcare services on Thursday, March 1st. The objectives of the appointment system are to enhance the quality of basic healthcare services, to reduce waiting period for patients who need the services, and to enable doctors to utilize the optimum time in examining and treating patients. Meanwhile, appointments can be made by visiting the registration counter or via telephone during working hours from 7:45 in the morning to 12 noon and again from 1:30 to 4 in the afternoon.
Leading our international news tonight, Honduran president promises to help the families of victims of a deadly fire that swept through a prison, killing more than 350 inmates.
And Myanmar's pro-democracy leaders' election campaign attracts large crowds of supporters. Honduran President Porfirio Lobo has announced measures to help the families of victims of a deadly fire that swept through a prison, killing more than 350 inmates. The incident was one of the worst fires in Latin America's history, and authorities pledged to conduct a thorough investigation.
The National Congress will set up a commission of senators and specialists to allow for the investigation into what happened during the particular incident. Authorities have begun removing the bodies from the burnt-out facility, while the government would facilitate transferring family members to the morgue in Tugusigalkalpa to identify their loved ones. A senior official at the Attorney General's office said 359 inmates are unrecognizable, adding that officials would have died in the blaze at the prison in Comayagua, about 75 kilometers north of the capital. There was confusion over the death toll, with some reports saying that the 359 figure included more than 100 inmates who escaped during the fire and others that are the dead and missing total 402 people, almost half the prison's inmates. The prison housed more than 850 inmates, well above its capacity.
Meanwhile, a forensic team began the arduous task of moving hundreds of bodies from the prison following the devastating fire. The prisoners whose scorched bodies were carried out piece by piece had been locked inside an overcrowded penitentiary where most inmates had never been charged, let alone convicted.
With a senior official at the Attorney General's office telling media that 359 inmates' bodies are unrecognizable after the blaze, medical teams in the tiny Central American nation are working around the clock to identify victims. Bodies were found piled up in the bathrooms, while inmates apparently fled to the showers, hoping the water would save them from blistering flames. Prisoners perished clutching each other in bathtubs and curled up in laundry sinks. Crowds of grief-stricken relatives gathered outside the jail site, desperate to hear if their loved ones were amongst the hundreds killed in the deadly prison fire. A fire started by an inmate tore through the prison, burning and suffocating screaming men in their locked cells as rescuers desperately searched for keys. Survivors told horrific tales of climbing walls to break the sheet metal roofing and escape, only to see prisoners in other cell blocks being burned alive.
Myanmar's pro-democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi is attracting large crowds as she staged a noisy and colourful election campaign. Suu Kyi, vying for a legislative seat in April's by-elections, leads the National League for Democracy NLD party, which is contesting 48 seats in the various legislatures, including 440-seat lower house in polls, which could give political credibility to Myanmar and help advance the end of Western sanctions.
Suu Kyi's campaign follows dramatic reforms in the country over the past few months, which has seen hundreds of political prisoners freed, the loosening of media controls, a call for peace with ethnic insurgents, and open dialogue with the opposition leader. Official campaigning began last Saturday, and the NLD is gathering momentum, attracting thousands of supporters whenever Suu Kyi makes an appearance. The campaign is running like a well-oiled machine, with an army of volunteers leading a convoy on motorcycles, distributing pamphlets and asking for donations. Suu Kyi is contesting a seat at the Kaumua constituency in Yangon division, but is campaigning for the other NLD candidates all over the country. Supporters lined the road to Legu, about 45 kilometers from Yangon, chanting "Long live Mother Suu" and waving red NLD flags and posters with images of Suu Kyi and or her father, Myanmar's independence hero Aung San. Her supporters are optimistic that the elections in April, which will be tightly watched by the international community as it contemplates lifting sanctions, will be credible.
Now let's take a look at some world news updates. now a quick look at the weather forecast for Brunei for tonight and tomorrow, followed by the local tide charts.
And now moving on to the Nisab Zakat or tithe rates for cash and property.
This foreign exchange segment is brought to you by HSBC.
In conjunction with the 91st Police Day, a Bukit Patoi Charity Challenge Run will be held in the Temburong district on the 18th of March. The event that will take place at Bukit Patoi Temburong Recreation Park is open to government departments, colleges, schools, associations, mukims and kampongs, private companies and individuals throughout the country. The event is divided into men and women's open 5-kilometer run categories and fun run category for a distance of 2 kilometers. The run is organized as one of the sports and recreational charity events in Together Celebrating Police Day. The objective is to further strengthen relations and generate integration among personnel and staff of the Temburong Police District. Entry forms can be obtained from police stations, while the closing date of participation is the 18th of March 2012.
Finally, let's reflect on the tradition of Prophet Muhammad SAW as narrated by Ad-Dailami on parents as the source of sustenance.
Those who stop praying for both their parents are bound to lose their sustenance.
Thank you for watching News at 10, and we bring you the highlights of the Singapore Air Show 2012. We hope you'll enjoy the rest of this evening's program on RTV and have a pleasant day tomorrow. Good night.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.